Hello everyone, my name is Beckett and welcome back. Happy Halloween everyone. I hope you guys are having a great day and we have a Division 2 build. It's a little late, but I'm getting out to you today before Halloween ends. We are going to be running a Pestilence Striker build. It's going to be quite fun and it's a little bit of a Halloween themed build. We like to have fun. It doesn't always have to be the meta. It doesn't always have to be. As long as we can get to our heroics, we can solo, we can do group, and we can do all that stuff. We can still have fun in the game. We do not have to run Eagle Bearer every day, all day. Alright guys, but before we get into the video, if you enjoy the content, smash that subscribe button. And if you like my video build help you out, I have a lot of Division 2 videos. Check them out. If you like any of them, smash that like button. And if you make it to the end of the video, you better subscribe. Now, before we hop into this build, let's go over the playstyle and see if it's a right fit for you. So we are going to be running the LMG Pestilence with a Striker 3-piece and a few other pieces mixed in just to spice it up, give it that little Halloween flavor that we all are looking for. Now, the reason we want to stay mid-range is we're going to be throwing hives and we're going to have our EMP jammer or a blinder firefly, whatever works for you, but we're always want to keep those status effects. Not to CC the target, just because it increases our damage and we're going to be doing so much. On top of the Pestilence damage over time effect, we're going to have status effects, and just the bullets from the Pestilence are just going to be knocking targets down, and it's going to be shredding even chungas. Even the hardest of enemy types is not going to be an issue. There will be downsides. If you cannot keep up your status effects, you are going to lose a lot of damage, and it won't be noticeable in group play, but you will notice it in solo heroics, and you'll also notice it if you go on legendary, whether you do solo or in a group. It is going to be significant, so make sure you have those status effects. All right, now let's hop into this build. So for our specialization, we are going to be running Gunner. For LMG, it is just a no-brainer. We have rate of fire, armor on kill, reload, and weapon handling. That is so huge. It's gonna make our gameplay so much more smoother and more engaging and just more fun in general. Now let's hop into our weapons. For our primary, we are going to be using the Pestilence. This is an amazing LMG and I love it. The talent it comes with is Plague of the Outcast. Hits apply a debuff, dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up to 50 times. Now with our build, it's going to be hitting over 500 to 600k a tick. There are more builds that hit higher with the Pestilence tick, but we are not just relying on that. And also, whenever an enemy dies and they have that dot on them, it's going to hit to the next enemy. And as long as we keep that dot up, or if we want to spread all that love around, but as long as we keep that huge hitting dot up and it keeps spreading, it's just going to constantly do damage, and you're just going to see those ticks going off. No matter if you can't even see an enemy, you are going to be damaging an enemy. One thing I want to mention though, the dot that comes from the Pestilence is not a status effect. So if you were trying to build it into a status effect build, it's not going to affect status effects. It's just a dot by itself and alone. The only thing you can buff it with is more weapon damage. Now for the secondary, it doesn't really matter. Just pick something you prefer. Normally we are always going to be having the Pestilence out. I went with the mob for that 10% armor on kill, and I was running close and personal on it. It's just in case a couple enemies get too close, you can take them out really quick and get back to spreading all that Pestilence around. Now let's hop into the gear side. So for our mask, we are going to be using the Exotic Vial. Now this has the talent Toxic Delivery. Status effects also apply a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds. Total damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade. So what does that mean? So right now in my build, it's doing about 60k a tick, but really this is to help keep status effects up all the time and really stop those gaps, as well as making up for the damage, since we are going to be having one skill tier on this build. Now for the backpack, we are picking up the Eclipse protocol. We are going to want to re-roll this to weapon damage, and we want it just for that talent. Amplifies all damage you deal to status effect targets by 30%. Now this is much better than Vigilance, as long as we can keep status effects up, and it amplifies. It's an extra multiplier, so it's more than 30% increased weapon or increased damage overall. Not a lot, but it's still more, and it's much better than Vigilance on any day. Now I'm going to be using the name chest. You get this from the quest line for doing the gunner, and you can just go and craft it, or you can go out and farm a piece. It's just easier to craft it, and you usually get pretty good rolls. The talent it comes with, perfect brace. While in cover, weapon handling is increased by 50%. Weapon handling is a huge stat for LMGs, and we're going to be using this a lot. Now for the other 3 pieces, we are going to be using striker gloves, striker knee pads, and striker holster. And any other stats we are going to be re-rolling to weapon handling. You can slip in a couple pieces of armor regen. I have 1 armor regen piece, and I'm looking for 1 more just because it feels a little safer when you're in legendary content. For skills, we are going to be using the EMP jammer just because it's good to get the whole room status effects. It gets that vile dot going out. It's just really easy. You can also use the blinder firefly if you're having trouble. Since we'll have that extra skill tier, we're going to be able to mark up multiple targets. Now for the mods for that, just use the ones that you get from the gunner specialization. They seem to work the best. And we are also going to be using the stinger hive. Now we are going to be using this to also put that bleed out damage targets and get that status effect rolling. When we're going to be using it, ideally when they're all grouped up and you know you can hit 4 or 5 people and get those status effects rolling. Now let's hop into those stats. Now when it comes to stat wise, you can see that I'm basically just stacking weapon handling on everything. I'm not worried about crit chance, crit hit damage. For your gear mods, you can put in whatever you want. I've been experimenting with skill haste just so I can get more hives out. You can also use critical hit chance or critical hit damage just to get a little more damage, but it's not very consistent because it's critical hit chance. Armor on kill works really good. Protection from elite works really good. It's really a personal preference. Use what you want because we have all the weapon handling. We're going to be doing plenty of damage with all that stuff going out, but if you're looking to min-max the most, go critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Now, not everything can be good, especially on Halloween, and there are some drawbacks to this build, and probably the biggest one and the most glaring one is the status effects. Since we're building this build around keeping status effects on so we can get that amplified damage, if you do not have status effects up, it is going to be a huge detriment to your build, and you're just not going to be putting enough damage out. And if you are running solo a lot, you are going to notice it a lot. In a group setting, you're not really going to have that much trouble if you're just running heroic, but if you are running legendaries a lot, you are going to see that glaringly. Now, this is not a build you're going to be up close, but we are going to want to be in mid-range. We're not going to want to be in the back of the map with the LMG, but we are going to want to be close enough so our hive and our EMP can hit everything. Otherwise, it is a really fun build, and I have a lot of fun with it. It's always fun just to play those non-meta builds. Just remember, keep those status effects up and just unload on the Pestilence. The best thing I found to work is just keep that Pestilence dot pretty much on the biggest targets, on those elites, on those chungas, and just kind of spread everything else around and just start taking down the reds and purple, because you'll see the reds and purples, they'll be dropping so fast, and you'll have all these different Pestilence, all these dots, all this damage going out, and I've been in cover just healing, and I just tick, just like Eclipse protocol. So it's quite a fun build, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now that's it for the video. I hope you guys have a great, happy Halloween, and again, just be safe, call an Uber, don't drink and drive, don't do anything that, stay home and get drunk if you can, because that is what I'm going to be doing. And if you guys get bored, I have a lot of videos on this channel. We have a lot of builds, so if you're interested in other things, go ahead and check that out. And if you made it this long, you better hit that subscribe